Good to see you today. We're going to talk about the myth of retiring in a lower tax bracket. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Erin.
So I know that you say this all the time, but if you don't have a tax plan, you don't have a retirement plan. So one of the most widely believed myths is that we will all be retiring in a lower tax bracket, but that's not often the case. Essentially, people think, hey, I'm not going to have an income. I'm going to be retired. But again, that's not exactly true. Why this misconception?
Most people want to continue with a similar or even, and oftentimes, a better lifestyle financially, meaning they're going to need more income to do the things that they want to do. So when it comes to tax planning, another thing that people typically get wrong is you need to start with how much after-tax income are you going to need to do the things you want. And from there, how are you going to come up with that? Is it going to be a combination of IRA withdrawals or Social Security or pensions? And that combination of income stream is what's going to set your tax liability throughout your lifetime.
All right, so let's get a little bit into the weeds here. And of course, before we have this conversation, we need some context. Context for today, nation's debt stands at $39 trillion. We know the government has two ways to make up that money: decrease spending, which we know they don't like to do, or increase revenue, which means raise taxes, right? So, Jere, a lot of people may not realize that we are living in a historically low tax rate. Tax rates could go much, much higher. So how do we, what do we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, we all have to be aware of the looming fiscal health of the U.S. with this approaching 40 trillion of debt. And at some point, that's going to involve raising taxes. I think you had the chart there. Yeah, there it is, that we're in historically low tax rates. We just got this gift from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act where they're keeping the tax rates low. They were supposed to revert and go back to the earlier tax brackets. The highest marginal bracket is now 37%. And the Congressional Budget Office has stated that tax rates would need to at least double in order to just make good on the promises that we have made ourselves as a country. And the other thing to look at here is you can see that right now we have the highest marginal bracket we are in is 37%. But this chart shows us that the highest marginal brackets were up in the 90% back
Scary.
in the 60s. So there's a good chance that we will see higher tax rates in our lifetime.
And one reason why we might is because most of us are really good savers in those tax-deferred 401ks. How does this increase our tax burden in retirement?
Yeah, well, it's a couple of really dual fold. You have, if the tax rates go up, which we just looked at, that could be a possibility based on the fiscal health of the U.S. And a lot of our accounts are tax deferred, meaning they're going to tax you when you harvest your account, and they actually force you to do that through a system called the required minimum distribution. And so if they're forcing distributions and at the same time raising tax rates, that could also cause you to pay higher taxes on capital gains, higher taxes on your Social Security, things like that.
Right. And I want to circle back to that in a second, but start by asking, of course, how do we create tax-free income in retirement?
Well, it first comes with the understanding that the IRS has a tax plan laid out for you. Yeah. And you can either follow their tax plan or you can build your own tax plan. It's not that you're ever really going to get away from paying taxes altogether, but it is more about having your own tax plan. That's going to work out better than the IRS's. And then thinking about how you can generate and generate income, then reduce your lifetime tax liability. And you want to do that by thinking about tax efficiency, creating Roth conversions to have tax-free income. There's other things out there that can create tax-free income as well, using accounts such as HSAs to lower your tax burden, get income for healthcare costs. So it's really more of a concept of you have to think about planning on your terms in planning for reducing your lifetime tax liability.
Right. And now to come back to you mentioning the cost of healthcare and Social Security, something that needs to be part of our retirement income plan, of course, but tax-free income can also help us when it comes to Social Security and Medicare. How is that?
Yeah, so starting with Medicare, there's in IRMA is the surcharge that if you make higher income, and there's certain thresholds of once you hit, you're going to have higher surcharge on your Medicare. So not everybody pays the same for Medicare, and that's based on those income streams that we talked about. So again, it's important of manipulating those income streams there. And then also the same goes true for Social Security. So many don't realize that Social Security actually has its own formula. It's called a provisional income formula. And that is going to determine how much of your Social Security becomes taxable. 0%, 50%, or up to 85% of your Social Security becomes taxable. The takeaway there is it's much more important to do tax planning around your Social Security than it is to worry about, the optimal timing, because that's really just a hard target to hit.
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
So many reasons, though, to sit down and crunch the numbers today, since we are living again in a historically low tax rate. So, Jere, if somebody wanted to come and talk about proactive planning right now to reduce their taxes in retirement, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, best way to reach us is at NortherWayWM.com. You can find a bunch of information there on the website of what it is that we do and how we help do those type of things. So be happy to get you pointed in the right direction.
Great. Jere, thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Take care.